What a nerd. I'm giving you my summer 2021 recommendations and I'm like, here's this educational thing that you can do. What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Emily and I create career-centered conversations about topics missing from mainstream messages. So if that's your cup of tea, make sure to subscribe. And while you're at it, if you want to follow along with behind-the-scenes stuff in my life, you can follow me on my Instagram, which will be linked down in the description box below. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Today I want to share with you some of my recommendations, things that I'm loving and enjoying for this summer 2021. So we're gonna talk music, we're gonna talk podcasts, books, Instagram, YouTubers. Number one in the music category. First thing I've been really enjoying is Surfaces. Their new album is really vibey, for lack of a better term. Something you can listen to at the beach, which I love the beach. So if you love the beach and I love the beach, listen to Surfaces' new album. The second thing that I've been listening to is a band called Cityalite, and their music is wonderful and it's very Christ-centered, and sometimes they do hymns and sometimes they don't do hymns, but I can trust their music. You know, I'm not worried about where their money is going to. I'm not worried about grave sucking. I'm not worried about the theological inaccuracies or shallowness of the music. It's very real, it's very honest, and it's very worshipful, so I really like that. The other thing I've been loving are my sister's smoothies, but you can't have those, so stinks for you. Also, I love music recommendations, so please leave those down below because I'm always in the need of new music. So on to books. This is called The Woman in the Window, and it is a psychological thriller. I don't know if you're into that, but I'm into that. It's my favorite genre. So it's about a woman who has agoraphobia, or agoraphobia. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's basically where she can't leave her house. And so she spies on her neighbors, sees something she shouldn't see, and it all goes downhill from there. And it's really interesting because it's written from her perspective and it's like stream of consciousness, and it's one of those like, can you trust this narrator? Like, is she telling you the truth? That kind of thing. It's so interesting. This is The Pilgrim's Progress. This is a Christian book about a guy who, it's an allegory, so everything is representative. It's about a guy named Christian who leaves the city of destruction and goes to the celestial city, and it's basically an allegory for the Christian life. And it's so interesting, and as a Christian, it's really encouraging, and you can just draw out so many theological themes, and you can learn so much from it, and it's just been really nice and kind of a wild ride. I love reading this book. It's also a very easy read. Like, it's not something that I struggled with, even though it's an old book. Like, it's not like Shakespeare. I'm not like, man, what does this mean? It's very simple. So I'm able to just read it kind of at whatever speed I want, but it's just so full of deep truths that it's really wonderful. Now we're gonna do some podcasts. First podcast I'm gonna recommend is Allie Beth Stuckey's Relatable. So she talks about a lot of things, but mainly it's about Christian things and political things. And she has different guests on and does interviews and stuff, but it's all very relevant. It's all very relatable. And I also really like her Instagram because she, in her stories, she'll post responses and commentary kind of on things that are going on in the world right now, which really helps me because it's not only from a conservative perspective, it's also from a Christian perspective, which I find really helpful. And obviously her Christianity trumps her politics anytime. So I really liked her. She's been a steady, stable kind of logical person that I feel like I can rely on. So her podcast and her Instagram are awesome to follow along with. The second podcast I'd recommend is Ben Shapiro from The Ben Shapiro Show. And many people don't like him. I accept that. I think he has a lot of good things to say, so I like listening to him. He has a podcast that's released every single day that just talks about whatever the political events are. He's Jewish, so I don't take his advice for many things. There's a lot of ways that Ben and I disagree, but I think that often he has a lot of good things to say about the current events that are going on. For more of a spiritual Christian kind of podcast, I've been listening to The Sermon of the Day by John Piper, and it's just literally a sermon every day, but I've been listening to it on my ride to work and my ride back from work, and it has been awesome. And I would really encourage you, if you also have a long commute, to find a way to use that time really well. And it has been spiritually encouraging for me because I'll come to work feeling like, you know, and when I leave work, when I'm already like, and being with kids all day will do that sometimes. But if I'm not feeling totally steady, just listening to that on the way home is really helpful for me too. And I feel like I'm just growing in a lot of ways that I probably wouldn't have if I were just listening to music in my car ride instead of taking time to listen to sermons and things that will grow me spiritually. So I have 2 YouTubers or YouTube accounts that I want to suggest to you. The first one is Vodybaccum. Vodybaccum is wild. He's a wild dude. And he is a Christian and he does a lot of apologetics, so a lot of figuring out how to defend your faith. He does sermons as well. He does not like political things, but maybe like in the social sphere. Yeah, stuff about marriage, stuff about relationships, stuff like that. Stuff about abortion. So he's a really interesting person to listen to. He doesn't have as wide, like, I feel like I've listened to mostly all of the things that he has put out. Everything that I've listened to by him has been really helpful and just logical. I really like listening to him. And he's a funny guy too. So I will recommend also. Another YouTube channel, I strongly recommend them, is Apologia Studios. This is Jeff Durbin and his team. And so they do a lot of things. So they have sermons that they post because they are a church and the sermons are great. The things that I tend to go towards are either their arguments or debates with other people, or they also do street evangelism. And they do street, protests outside of abortion companies. And they'll record different interactions that they have with other people, talking with people. And some of them are really inspirational. People come around and some of them are really kind of sad. So I should just tell you that too, because it's one of those things where you're like, okay, this is actually like how the world is. But it's also really helpful if you want to know, like, how do I defend my faith? How do I speak about abortion from a Christian perspective? He's really awesome. And he's one of those accounts that I can just like binge watch so many debates and stuff like that because it's really educational. What a nerd. I'm giving you my summer 2021 recommendations and I'm like, here's this educational thing that you can do. This is an Instagram that I want to share with you guys. It's Conservative Creator. It is a creator who's conservative. It's this woman who does drawings and infographics and stuff like that from a conservative perspective. And I really like the things that she does. They're really beautiful. They're aesthetic. I mean, like, look at that. That's wonderful. And so they're one of those things where, like, if you feel like, wow, everyone on Instagram is liberal. Everyone is posting and reposting the same thing from Impact or Change, or so you want to talk about, that all those Instagrams that everyone follows. And you also want to get in the conservative culture war. These are great things to post on your Instagram, on your stories, start conversations, state your opinion, whatever it is. And it's really, I like them. I like them a lot. Those are all my summer 2021 recommendations. Leave a comment down below. What things are you enjoying this summer? What music do you like? What books are you reading? All the things. I need recommendations too. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and click the notification bell and all that stuff. Until then, have a great week, have a great life, and I'll see you.